messieurs, veuillez prendre vos places, s'il vous plaît. C'est le temps du début. Bienvenue à tous à cette 25e édition, ça fait 25 ans déjà, de la compétition de cas internationale MBA de l'Université Concordia, John Molson School of Business. Welcome. Welcome to this 25th edition of the case competition. My name is Pierre Brunet. I was forever a faculty member here, not anymore, but I just can't leave. And the students have asked me to give you a sort of a short look at the case for today, what the judges will be looking for, and what you can expect or look for from the students. Before I get into any of that, I'm asked to remind you that there is simultaneous translation into French and into English. There we go. All three presentations will be in English. Si vous voulez l'entendre en français, nous avons une traduction simultanée, si vous le voulez. All right? Anybody want one? Don't all rush at once? All right. Some of you, I think, have got a copy of the case. Have you got the case? Did people give you a copy? Everybody's going like this. That's pretty cool, right? Oliver's Markets. 2 markets in California in 2 different locations. The owner is a fellow named Steve, and the business is going reasonably well, and he has an opportunity to acquire 1 or 2 stores from a larger competitor that is selling out of the area. That's what we're told in the first page. And I've just spent 2 hours and a little bit with the judges, and we talked about this case and what we'd be looking for. And I can tell you, I hope the students are not listening there, but I can tell you that one of the things that the judges are looking for is for the students to address the issue of the efficiency and the positioning of these 2 stores vis-a-vis its competition in the area before they decide on an acquisition. There's financial information in the case about both of the stores, one in Sonoma and one in Novato, and the indications are that these stores are not doing as well as they could and not as well as they have. So the judges feel pretty strongly that before you can think about an acquisition, you've got to clean up the house and make it look really good. Simultaneously with cleaning up the house and making it efficient and looking at how you can do it better is the issue of succession. Steve, the fellow who owns the stores, the owner, is 59 years old. His wife is ill. He's talking about backing away. He has a general manager who also manages one of the stores named Tom, who seems to be interested, but we don't get much of an opinion from him. There's also a fellow running the other store, a young fellow named Eric, who may be interested but has not shown any interest yet. And so we need to have a succession plan, need to make Oliver's Markets efficient, working really well, well-positioned to serve its clients. Then we can talk about an acquisition. And the way the judges see it is these acquisitions are here and they're only available for a week and you got to hurry up and make the deal. And the way the judges see it is there are going to be other acquisitions. Relax. Take a Valium. Don't worry about this one too much. Right? So you may see some teams come in here and say, okay, here's the acquisitions. You got a week to go, and here's the financials. Here's how much you're going to pay for them. Here's what you're going to do, and they're here and they're there. That's pretty good detail, but they haven't backed up. That's not as good in the judge's eyes as seeing a team come in and say, you know, there's some acquisitions you could make, and they may be good, but first, let's talk about positioning your market. One of the 2 markets, by the way, is very upscale gourmet foods, and the other one is crunchy granola kind of healthy stuff. And the upscale one is smaller, doing better than the crunchy granola one. So there are some things to straighten out. Human resources is an issue for these people because they have a lot of people working in the stores. They have people who haven't done a very good job, and they've had difficulty with the labor relations boards. So they've got some things to fix inside before they start thinking about growing. Nothing wrong with growing if that's what they want to do. So that's the hierarchy, right? First is position yourself, fix up your business so that it's nice and efficient. Along with that, figure out what kind of a succession plan you want to make, and do you want to get your 2 senior managers involved in buying out over the next few years or buying a part of it. And once you've done that, then you can think about acquisitions. And if you've got the case, you can look at all the numbers that are in there, and I'm sure you can follow along with the students. So that's the story. I'm sure you will enjoy these 3 presentations. It's my job now to go out and get the judges and ask them to come in here and sit down. And as soon as that happens, the first team will come in. I don't know who the first team is. Munster is the first team. Well, there you go. Munster, HSC, and John Molson, in that order? I got it right. Have a nice time, and thank you for listening. All right.
Can I test just a little bit? Oh. Bleib immer an. Twice. Richtig, jeder, wir haben 4 Mikrofone. I got it. Like this? Okay, so I'd like to welcome everyone to the 2006 John Molson International Case Competition. My name is William Nahorniak. I'm the judge coordinator for this case. Donc, bienvenue au concours international de cas John Molson, l'édition 2006. Mon nom est William Nahorniak. Je suis le coordinateur pour ce cas. So, first and foremost, I'd like to have the judges please introduce themselves to our team and to our audience. S'il vous plaît, les juges, vous introduire aux compétiteurs et l'audience.
Hi, my name is François Giroux. I'm the president of Group Lacasse Hayworth. We're a global office furniture manufacturer.
Good afternoon. My name is Norman Rashcowan. I'm Chief Investment Officer with Standard Life Investments.
Hi, my name is Dr. Arvind Joshi. I'm the CEO of St. Mary's Hospital Centre here in Montreal.
Good afternoon, Mackie Vatichino, and I'm CEO of Les Aliments So Yummy Foods.
My name is Russell Hiscock. I'm the General Manager of the division that manages the Canadian National Railway Pension Fund assets.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. So before we begin, I'd like to ask all the judges, the audience, to please turn off your cell phones, pagers, and to please remain silent during the presentations. It's a little bit disturbing. S'il vous plaît, éteignez vos cellulaires, vos pagettes, et gardez silent pendant la présentation. So I want to remind the team that you have a 25-minute presentation. When there's 5 minutes left, I'll show you a sign that says 5 minutes. When there's 1 minute left, I'll show you a sign that says 1. I want the judges and the participants to please acknowledge that they see the sign. Donc, je rappelle aux compétiteurs qu'ils ont seulement 25 minutes pour leur présentation. Quand il y a 5 minutes qui restent, je vais leur montrer une pancarte qui indique 5. Quand il reste 1 minute, une pancarte qui indique 1. J'aimerais que les participants et les juges me disent qu'ils ont vu les pancartes. After the presentation, there's going to be a 15-minute question and answer period. Questions can only come from judges, not from the audience. Après la présentation, il va y avoir une période de 15 minutes de questions et de réponses. Les questions peuvent seulement parvenir des juges. So, thank you very much. Bonne chance and good luck.
Thank you. Das ist aus. Ja, dann pass aber nur auf, dass du nicht im Weg stehst.
Bienvenue, welcome Steve. As the owner of Oliver's Markets, you contacted MS Consulting to tell you how your company actually could overcome the growth plateau and making your company fit for the future. So that's why we're here today. I would like to take the chance now to introduce to you today's team. There's Annette, Martin, Mark, and my name is Zahil. So I would like to give you a short overview now about what we're going to talk in the next 25 minutes. We're going to start by situation analysis our consulting company did for Oliver's Markets. Then we would like to make some recommendations for a new strategy concerning a strategic repositioning of Oliver's Markets, an expansion strategy, and human resources and organization overview. And then at the end of the presentation, we would like to present to you an implementation plan, the financial impact of our strategy, a contingency plan, and a short summary. So let me start now by the situation analysis we did. First of all, we had a view on your growth development, and as this graphic here clearly shows, there has been a stagnation of growth, and at the same time, net income decreased. So the growth stagnation and the decreasing of net income actually lead to a need for action here. And how your company has to act and how this can be done, we have to analyze now. So first of all, we had a look at the external factors your company is confronted by. First of all, could identify some opportunities here. So there's a higher income of population in general, which actually leads to the fact that people have more money they can dispose over and which they're actually willing to spend. And the health consciousness that is arising around the population. So they're looking for healthy products to buy because they're really conscious about their health themselves. Then the demographic development is also a positive factor that can be taken advantage of by your company, because as the population, for example, becomes older and older, and you already have a strong focus on your the target group of seniors here, this demographic development is also an opportunity for your company. Then, at the same time, of course, there are some threats that might arise from the external environment. First of all, there's an increasing dominance of warehouse club stores and discount supercenters, which actually is a threat for a small supermarket like your company is. Because a discounter, for example, offers products for very cheap prices, and as customers become more and more price sensitive, this is a threat here for a company like you are. Then there's a chronic overcapacity in general in the supermarket industry, so competition is very strong, and diversification of the product portfolio is very important here. Then there's changing shopping patterns that can be observed, meaning that there's a rising emergence of lifestyle food operators and internet delivery service. So people actually have different possibilities now to buy food, and by that don't need to go to a general supermarket only, but can find other sources to get their food from as well. So by first having had that look on external factors, we then analyzed your company itself and could identify strengths, first of all, and weaknesses. According to strength, you have a very, very motivated staff here. So human resources is a very strong issue your company put a focus on, and which really led to a strength we could identify. Then, rising from that, there's a very strong corporate culture of Oliver's Markets, and that's also very positively seen by us. Then, you're very customer-oriented so far. So the product portfolio you have in your supermarket assortment is very customer-orientated, and that's a strength for your company. Then you have a high-quality offer for your customers, which differentiates you from, for example, discounters. Then you don't have a unionized labor force, so you don't have to follow the trend that is upcoming now for companies who have a unionized labor force and have to offer them higher wages. So that's a strength on your company side here. But then, of course, there are also some weaknesses we identified. First of all, you're a small-sized business. That leads to different weaknesses here. First of all, you lack economies of scale in comparison to supercenters or big discounters. Then you have limited financial resources because of that. And, of course, less negotiation power towards suppliers here, which others can benefit from. And you don't have a clear positioning of your company itself. So what we mean by that, I want to explain right now. Well, we had a look at your strategic positioning so far in comparison to your competitors. We took Safeways and Whole Foods to compare your strategic positioning here. We have two dimensions we had a look on. First of all, quality orientation. Second of all, price orientation. Whole Foods is very quality oriented and doesn't have a strong focus on prices here. So they have their pricing policy is not that one of a discounter in comparison to that of Safeways, who don't have that high quality orientation, but orientate or try to differentiate themselves by prices. And where we positioned you is right in the middle, Oliver's Markets, as you can see. And this is something we would call stuck in the middle, and we actually see a real big need here for clear positioning. So how this can be done, I would like to explain right now. So the strategic repositioning of your company is where we see it as differentiation by offering premium quality and shopping experience. And how this can be achieved, for that you have to address three factors here. First of all, a quality focus. Second of all, shopping experience focus, and a pricing strategy that actually underlines those two factors I just mentioned. So let me start by explaining to you what we would mean by quality orientation in your company. First of all, you should offer high quality brands to your customers. Don't go for not labeled brands, but offer them high quality brands. Then you should have a quality control system in your company, meaning that every product you have in your assortment has to be controlled before it gets on the shelf. And you have to have quality control during the day as well, especially concerning perishables. And we would recommend local sourcing, because that makes control easier for you, because you have a direct contact to suppliers as you're positioned in a wine area there. For example, according wines, by local sourcing, you could actually assure freshness for the product, and by that assure quality for your customers. Then, according pricing, we would recommend to you to enhance yield management further on, as you already do it. For example, you have special offers for seniors because one of your supermarkets is located close to some senior resident here. And what we recommend you, for example, is to also offer yield management concerning, for example, having special offers during lunchtime for business people who can then take away their food, high quality food, and by that have another target group here to attack. Then you should not have a permanent low price strategy you use for your supermarkets, but just do it by special offers. For example, every week there could be one special offer of a high quality brand product here, and by that you could attract customers to your store and make them buy other products as well. Then we would also recommend to keep on benchmarking Whole Food, as you already did it. You put your prices right below their prices. You should keep on doing that, but not by totally underlowering their prices in your product portfolio. So for repositioning, the last step you have to take is to offer your customer a shopping experience, and how you can achieve that. That is where I would like to hand over to my colleague Martin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zahir. I would like to welcome you as well. After my colleague has stated you the situation analysis and showed you the first implication, the strategic repositioning, I would like now come now to the last part, the enhancing of the shopping experience. We believe that by enhancing the shopping experience, you can attract more customers, thus also increasing the revenue per customer. How can this be done? On the one hand, a harmonized store layout, so each time a customer enters an Oliver Market store, he feels familiar with the environment. Furthermore, expand the in-store events, as for example, health or diet advisory. You're currently offering massages. This should be continued. Furthermore, you could offer wine taste in cooperation with local partners, since you're positioned in a wine region. And also food tryouts in order to make people acquainted with new food, with healthy food, with different foods, thus also lowering the barriers or the obstacles to buy or to purchase this food. Furthermore, we offer you, or we strongly recommend you to the organization of theme weeks like Fit for the Summer, in which the store layout will be slightly changed. Special products will be put into the focus, which lay in common with the theme Fit for the Summer, or for example also Fit for the Winter, or things like that. Furthermore, we recommend you a stronger focus on ethnic foods. In your region, there's a strong Hispanic minority. By offering them perhaps small corners where you offer typical Mexican food, you can also attract those customers to your stores and thus increase revenues. All in all, we believe that this strategic repositioning will make Oliver's Markets fit for an expansion, for taking the opportunity which you have right now, the taking over of those two supermarkets from Kruger. This is stated here. They are located in Santa Rosa and Novato, and for each of those two stores, an investment of $2 million is needed to refurbish those. Both alternatives, whether to take the expansion or not, have to be evaluated, which will be done in the following. We have the question: is an expansion necessary or not? So we have identified five issues which have to be tackled here. At the first thing we have is the strategic repositioning, which leads to a binding of resources, thus limiting your limited resources even more, and which leads to a conclusion that expansion would not be wise. Furthermore, the limited resources I have just stated. But on the other hand, you have the better exploitation of economies of scale by an expansion. Furthermore, the issue that Tom can be integrated better by offering him the getting into the company and managing the third store. And of course, last but not least, it's a great opportunity to take one of those or to take both supermarkets. And this leads us to the next question: should be one or two supermarkets be taken over? An issue which is against opening two stores is that Steve was less, or that you want to be less involved into the operational business, and that Tom should only be managing one store for now. Thus, this is an issue against acquiring or getting into 2 stores. Furthermore, you have the human resource capacity bottleneck and limited financial resources. This overall leads us to the conclusion that an expansion is necessary to exploit or to better exploit economies of scale. However, due to the limited resources, only 1 store should be opened. And this leads us to the next big question: which store? We have developed a scoring model based on 4 dimensions in order to facilitate you the decision. This is on the one hand the cost side. The Santa Rosa store has a lease of $360,000. The Novato store, one of $460,000, and both stores have to be refurbished. So this would be an advantage for Santa Rosa store. Furthermore, it's the present and future competition in both regions. No relevant upscale competitor is to be found in Santa Rosa, and there is no entry planned as far as our market analysis have resulted. But in Novato, there is no competitor right now as well, but the entry of Whole Foods early 2007 is planned. This might be a reason not to go there. However, it will be open in early 2007. We are end of 2005. Excuse me, end of 2005. This gives you like approximately 16 to 18 months where you can build up your presence and thus build up a first move advantage, which also weakens this argument. Furthermore, there are 2 more dimensions. On the one hand, it's the market size, calculated by the number of households times the average household income. There we come of a market size of $2.5 billion and $1.86 billion. Both are quite huge markets for you, so this is not really a critical criteria. But you also have to consider the demographics, which also are one of the main issues you are tackling, or one of the main questions you have given us for evaluating this investment. It's on the one hand the requirement that 25% of the population over there should have a college education. And there you can see that in Santa Rosa you have only 12.4% of college graduates. However, in Novato you have a 26% share. Furthermore, the area you will be expanding to has to have 10,000 households with income higher than $75,000 annually. We have identified that in Santa Rosa there are approximately 12,000, and in Novato there are 9,400. Due to the fact, or even though this number is slightly below your target, you should take into consideration the huge advantage on the college education side. Thus, we think that concerning the demographics, the Novato store has an advantage. Let me wrap it up, this whole analysis for you. We have stated the 4 dimensions on the left-hand side and the 2 stores up there. As stated before, Santa Rosa has an advantage on costs and competition and market size. But in Novato is also, there will be practically, or we believe that there will be no competition since you will be exploiting your first mover advantage, and the market size, which is basically the same. The most important criterion here is the demographics, when Novato has a strong advantage. Thus, we recommend you, ladies and gentlemen, to expand and to open or to take over the store in Novato. Now, after we have cleared the question whether to expand and where to expand, this leads us to the issue that the internal reorganization and the human resources have to be adopted to this expansion. And this will be now presented by my colleague Annette. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Martin. Yeah. Okay, so on human resources side, we have 3 main issues here. First would be the organization and succession question. Then we have the human resource. Let me talk about the first point, succession. As we already heard before from Martin, you, Steve, would like to retire in a reasonable time period, not being involved in operational business right now that much anymore. So the current situation is that you and your wife are co-owners of the S Corporation, Oliver's Markets, and you have a daughter, Eva, who is more interested in artistic and musician than in actually running the business. But then you still have Tom, who is right now the general manager and manager of one of your 2 stores. So what can we do now? There would be a succession plan for you. We would suggest is that Tom should become the minority partner and be assigned as general manager for all stores. Then as well, your daughter Eva, who's going to inherit your part of the business eventually, should have a position too, which would be the one of a creative director, being in charge of store design and stuff and things like that. Then this would give you the opportunity to slowly retire out of business and, well, at the same time, enable Oliver's Markets to have a secure future. The next point, the point of organization, is we suggest to slightly readjust your organizational structure. You are the owner, and as I just suggested, there would be Tom Scott as the general manager, as well as Eva on the same level as an artistic or as creative director. Then your store managers should all be below Tom in the matters they are, well, which are their tasks. And below them, you already have the department managers. So nothing would really change there except for having special store managers for our 3 stores. However, the tasks for Tom are really huge. There's the finance, there's the pricing strategy, as well as an overview over the portfolio strategy of your countries, the marketing, and the human resources. He would, have to take into account and be responsible for. That makes us believe that it is necessary to hire 2 more people here. One would be just a general assistant manager for Tom as a general manager, and the second would be the necessity for a human resource manager. Other issues you have is stop. Sorry. Other issues you have is the outsourcing. So the reorganization and the enlargement of your company to a 3rd store would make it necessary to have general IT solutions, and we would suggest to you not to do it yourself, but to have a competent partner who is going to do this for you. The same is valid for logistics and training. You're not sizable, or you're not big enough still to do all this yourself, so just go find a partner. We are sure there will be some, and outsource it. There's also the question of compensation laws you raised in the material you gave to us, and this is another issue. We don't believe that it's necessary to hire a law specialist for this, because it's only a short-term question. You have to readjust the law, you have to look into the law situation once and readjust your compensation. So just hire some law firm to do this for you, which is specialized in the area. Now let me come to my next slide, which is the human resource development. It would be necessary, as I already mentioned, to recruit an HR manager to, at the same time, develop hiring guidelines. Because up to now, you've had the problem that you sometimes hired people which you shouldn't have hired in the aftermath. So develop some guidelines and hold job interviews with your applicants, which are not only held by one person, like the department manager, but by the team of competent managers, which go by the guidelines, the hiring guidelines your HR manager is going to develop for this. The second part here is, why would there be a problem, or why was there a problem in the past hiring the right people? It's possible that people just don't have a big enough impression of you as a good employer. So what you should do, communicate your attractiveness as employer and offer performance-based remuneration and benefits as you already did in the past. So altogether, hire the correct people and keep them. That needs to be a key issue in the HR development. So let me come to the third and last point here, which is the corporate culture. That's a lot of things that already go with the repositioning. So let me just go over it really quickly. Your corporate design should be enhanced further. It is since you're positioning in an upscale market, it's necessary to have not just jeans and T-shirts for your employees, but chinos and shirts with your logo on it, for example. You shouldn't be the facial hair and earring issue anymore. And as well, harmonize the shop environment altogether, which would be Eva's task. Then the corporate citizenship is also one issue. Play an active role there. It's, for example, with in-store events and more consultants on health issues, etc. So altogether, provide a unique corporate identity that makes it clear to your customers that you are special. With the end of these measures, I would like to hand over to Mark, who is now going to tell you how we'd like you to implement these.
Thank you, Annette. Now I'd like to give an overview of what things you have to do first and what you have to do later on. Well, today, after today's meeting, you will have to decide if the strategy we are proposing to you, if you'll accept it or not. Then, as you can see, within the next week, you should secure the commitment of both Aoife and Tom for this plan, because they are really essential parts of this plan. Then, within the next month, Aoife will develop the new concept for the stores to harmonize them, as my colleague pointed out, which is really important for the image of your company. Then, the Novato store, if you decide to pursue this way, needs to be refurbished, needs to be renovated, and then can be opened within 3 to 4 months. Then in the next step, I'd like to talk about the financial impact of our strategy. How much money would it cost you to follow our strategy? As you can see, the renovation of the Novato store would be at $2 million. The new uniform store design are additional costs as the restructuring. But this can easily be financed once by Tom's buy-in into the company. Then you're in a really excellent financial position. You have roughly $2.5 million in cash, so you can use part of that. And also, you don't have that much debt right now, so you can take up additional loans to finance this expansion. Then, having a look at the development of your revenues, because this was why you contacted us. Your revenues have plateaued in the years before, and you want to overcome this stalemate position. Right now, you have a floor space of 45,000. By opening the new store, this will be put up to 62,000, which will enable you in the next year, this year, 2006, to reach a revenue level of 50 million, I'm sorry. And because the store will only be open 9 to 6 months this year, there will be a further increase the year after, and in 2007 you will reach revenues of 55 million, where then you can pursue new ways and strategies for further expansion to further increase your revenues and the money you make. All in all, this leads to a compounded annual growth rate of 12%, which is really a lot, and much more than your competitors are making in the market, which is in total decreasing. So in the next step, there are also always some risks, unforeseen risks. Should if I not comply with the plan and wants to really go in hard and doesn't want to have a part of the company, you could always hire a manager from the outside, which of course, because he's not part of the family, he would ask for more money than Aoife would, which would lead to additional costs per year. So let me just summarize this presentation for you. At the bottom of your success are your core competencies. What you did well in the past is what you will have to do well in the future. Then there's 3 pillars: the repositioning, the expansion, and the changes in the human resources we propose to you. If you follow the strategy, we're really confident and feel sure that you will enjoy sustainable growth and profitability in the future. And now I'd like to thank you, and our team is looking forward to all questions you might have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. You've recommended that we should acquire the store in Novato. What should I be prepared to pay for such a store, and how would I finance such an acquisition?
From the material we had, the way we understood it was that the company owning the store before, their lease is ending, so you would actually not have to buy money for the acquisition, but take over the lease at the time, and the $2 million would actually be the money needed to refurbish the store, to make it have the corporate design your company has, and therefore make it ready for your customers. So that's the $2 million figure in our numbers.
You touched on the human resource issue. However, you didn't address the salary issue. If you look at all the statistics in comparison to others, we have a much higher salary structure than any of our other competitors, and you're recommending that I hire 2 more people for the acquisition. How do you reconcile these 2 issues?
Well, for the first issue, we believe that it's really important that human resources is one of your most important issues altogether, because this makes your company outstanding. You have the high quality, and this has to go together with high standards in service. So the higher salaries are justified by the need for good services. At the same time, your salaries consist of large, variable parts. You have a performance-based remuneration for all your managers, for the store managers, for the department managers, and this is actually very, very necessary in order to ensure success, to ensure that every manager in every department is really, really willing and really does want to have his department succeed. So we do not suggest you to reduce salaries there, because by that way you would just make your managers mad, and they would not be willing to work that good for your company anymore. This is one of your strengths, so one of your the things you should definitely keep. Then at the same time, the hiring of 2 more people. The 1 person only is HR, and we believe this is necessary because of your hiring problem. Because in the past you've been hiring the wrong people at times. You have maybe not had enough people you could hire altogether. So Tom can do everything on his own. He has to have some assistants, and he has so many tasks, as I showed you earlier, that 1 assistant for general issues won't be enough to address the HR issue as well. There will be salaries coming in, yes, but your revenue stream looks quite good, and with the acquisition of the new store, growth is ensured, so we believe that it will be possible to finance the other 2 employees there.
You suggested that we reposition, and that would raise the value and the performance of our company. Then you suggest I take Tom as a partner. Do I take Tom as a partner before or after the repositioning value?
Well, what we said is that because there would also be the possibility, as you stated in the material you gave us, just to sell Oliver's Markets here. But we don't see any need to sell the market, because there's very big potential in there if we reposition the market. And the repositioning actually leads to the fact that an expansion would be beneficial for your company. So those are 2 things that you have to see aside of each other. You do it parallelly. Of course, the expansion process can only be taken in action if you reposition your market, because your company. Because if you don't reposition it, we don't really see any potential there for expansion. Because the competition, as I stated, is very, very strong in the supermarket section here. And if you want to have sustainable growth and sustainable success in the future, you have to be repositioned. And repositioning will then lead to the fact that your concept could be duplicated or replicated in another supermarket here. That leads to expansion, and expansion leads to the need of someone to run the business. That leads to the fact that you have to hire Tom. So it's something that goes together.
If I might just add something, because Tom is really, as the general manager for the future of the company, is really important. So of course, if you would wait until after repositioning, as you said, the value of your company would be higher, and therefore the price for him to pay for his share would be higher. But because he's an integral part of the repositioning, it would be fair to him to offer him the share in the company beforehand, because he's smart also. And if you would say, no, you will have to wait for your 10% share until after repositioning, and then you will have to pay more money, he might just turn away and leave the company, which is a big risk for you, and you should always look to be in a friendly contact with him.
In your opening situation analysis, you showed the fact that we've had a steady or stagnant revenues but declining profits. I see from your analysis what the acquisition would do for revenues. I didn't see what it does for profits.
what we stated before is that the strategic repositioning leads to a higher per customer revenue by building up customer loyalty and also by giving your customers the possibility to try new food and thus also increasing their consumption and thus increasing revenues per customer. And this would have a positive bottom line impact on your profitability.
Sorry, if we're investing $2 million and we're hiring more people and we're paying interest to finance the expansion, what is like my profits were $1 million, what will my profits be the year after I do this?
Well, I think from the numbers, if I remember them correctly, right now you have a profitability of around 4%, and we believe through the repositioning and the higher money the customers will pay, you will be able to increase your profitability by 2007 to 6%. Right now, at the beginning, because of the investment, it might drop, but eventually, after the investments are paid off, you will have a higher profitability.
You talked about succession and repositioning. The store that Tom has been managing in Kotati has been going downhill for the last 5 years. It is not doing well. We have another young superstar, Eric, and his store is doing tremendously well. But yet you have no plans for Eric in your future. Can you comment on what would you want Eric to do?
Well, first of all, we addressed Tom as the successor here because it was already clear that he would probably take the stake. He already is the general manager. He's more than just the store manager. So maybe the going back of his revenues might be as well part because he has so much to do on the general level that this would have impact on his store. So there would be need anyways to have a general manager and to have another store manager. Of course, Eric's store is doing well, but we have no idea whether he would be willing to invest and become a shareholder of your company. So what we suggest is that Eric should just stay the store manager for the moment. In the future plan, a long-term perspective, you yourself will more and more go out of business, and there would of course be the possibility that eventually Eric would be a second shareholder besides Tom.
At this point in time, Oliver's Market consists of 2 supermarkets, and possibly we may add a third. And this 2 supermarket operation is facing a declining profitability situation. Can we really rationalize hiring a creative director, a manager of human resources, and assistant general manager in that context?
Well, on the first hand, I think it is very crucial to involve your daughter, Eva, stronger, and by implementing or establishing this position, not only it would give you the opportunity to implement the special measures we have recommended you to increase the in-store experience. Thus, she would contribute very positively to the performance of your company. And furthermore, the hiring of the HR assistant, of the HR responsible person, and the assistant manager is also crucial in order to enable your company to grow and to allow Tom, to focus on the tasks of being a general manager and also thus leading your company into the right position, into the right development.
In the positioning you mentioned, or the repositioning, you mentioned that we were stuck in the middle. And then you talked about focusing on quality and the shopping experience. But then you went back to something you called enhanced yield management, which I understood to go back to pricing below Whole Foods and harmonizing the layout. But we're still then doing both, unless I'm not clear on this.
What we meant by that is that concerning yield management, as you already do it, you offer senior special offers at a certain time per day and per weekday, and you should continue doing that. Yield management only meaning that you have price differentiation by time here. So meaning that at certain times around the day or at certain days during the week, there are special offers for your customers, and by that you're going to attract them. But it has nothing to do with a low price strategy, because that's something you can't combine. You can't be a price leader and at the same time trying to communicate to be a quality leader here. And as I mentioned, the competition in the supermarket sector is that strong that there is a need for differentiation. And as you are a small-sized company, your only way to actually compete with those other supermarkets, also because of customers' awareness and price sensitiveness here, the only way you could actually differentiate yourself is by repositioning you to a quality and experience offering supermarket.
I just wanted to add one thing, because what we meant with stuck in the middle is that you're trying to compete with Safeways for everyday products. And what we meant by yield management is that for really high quality, high class, ready to go, high class meals at certain times during the day, you would offer managers something to eat, which would be priced a little bit below Whole Foods, but you wouldn't compete with Safeways in the market.
As you know, my poor wife is dying, and my daughter doesn't care about the business. And there's an awful lot of things happening in the area. Assuming that I don't want to do the acquisition, according to you, do I have to? And if so, what is the amount of time maximum that I could wait before doing it?
We think that because you have reached this plateau in the past, now is the time to act. You have this opportunity at hand, and if you don't act now, your profitability is only going to shrink even further, and then you'll making first no money at all, and then you'll be losing money. So if you decide that you want to abandon your operation, you would have to sell it completely right now to someone you would have to find. But if you want to continue your operation and want to continue to see your company grow and being stable, now is the time to act.
As well, there's Tom. You already had a brilliant partner in Tom for a couple of years now already. So he is willing to invest in your company. So if you would go right now and say, I don't want to expand and I would like to sell the company, you would lose Tom. That's for sure. He already stated that he has to see some opportunities for his future to stay with the company. So why not, even if you want to retire, give him this chance by making an investment in his future in this moment as well.
My daughter Ava has come to me with a proposal to give painting and sculpting classes in the Pilates store. Should I go ahead with that?
It would not be a bad idea, actually, because what we suggest is community involvement, and this would perfectly fit into the house of a corporate citizen. It would not be a good idea to abandon the store in order to only give classes there, but Eva could do it in special events in the store environment, invite customers to a sculpturing class for some little fee, and at the same time maybe you could then sell some things needed for painting and sculpturing from your store, so that would be a good match.
I just want to make sure I understand clearly. You want me to do repositioning, human resource planning, and succession planning, and buy the Novato store all at the same time.
Well, of course, that has a lot to do right now, but it's not only you who will implement the strategy. It is you, it is Tom, and if you want, it is MS Consulting who will help you in the whole process.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you, Rhonda.
Okay, so thank you very much, and welcome again to the 2006 John Molson International Case Competition. My name is William Nahorniak. I'm the judge coordinator for this case. Alors, bienvenue de nouveau à l'édition 2006 au concours international d'études de cas MBA John Molson. Premièrement, j'aimerais que les juges se présentent aux compétiteurs et de nouveau à l'audience. Please, judges, introduce themselves to our participants and to the spectators.
Good afternoon. My name is François Giroux. I'm president of Group Lacasse Hayworth. We're a global office furniture manufacturer.
Good afternoon. My name is Norman Rashcowan. I'm chief investment officer with Standard Life Investments.
Hi, my name is Dr. Arvind Joshi, and I'm the CEO at St. Mary's Hospital Center here in Montreal.
Mackie Vadakino, and I'm CEO of Les Aliments Soyami Foods.
Russell Hiscock, General Manager of the division that manages the assets of the Canadian National Railways Pension Fund.
Thank you very much. Merci. So again, I would like to ask the judges, the audience, and the participants to please turn off their cell phones, pagers, and please remain quiet during the presentation. Alors, je vous rappelle tous d'éteindre vos cellulaires, vos pagettes, et de rester silencieux durant la présentation. So now I'd like to remind the team that you have a 25-minute presentation. When there's 5 minutes left, I'll show you a sign that says 5. When there's 1 minute left, I'll show you a sign that says 1. Please acknowledge that you see it. Judges also, please acknowledge. Donc, je rappelle à l'équipe qu'ils ont seulement 25 minutes pour faire la présentation. Quand il reste 5 minutes, je vais leur montrer une pancarte qui indique 5 minutes. Quand il reste 1 minute, je vais leur montrer une pancarte qui indique 1 minute. Après ça, il va y avoir une période de 15 minutes dont les juges peuvent poser des questions. Et les participants vont répondre. Les questions peuvent seulement parvenir des juges et non pas des spectateurs. So after the presentation, there'll be a 15-minute question and answer period. Questions can only come from judges, not from the participants. From the spectators. So good luck.
Good afternoon, Mr. Steve Mass, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, we'd like to thank you for the opportunity you've given us here today to come and talk about the exciting future of your homegrown company. We are your external team of consultants, HSA Consulting. We are Wendy Fuhr, Manaleas Capranas, John Kersey, and I am Rachel Potvin. And the title of our presentation today is A Passion for Food, A Passion for Life, the Oliver's Markets Experience. At this point, I'd like to talk about the mandate for our presentation today. You've asked us to evaluate the expansion options for Oliver's Markets. Now, what we believe this entails is that we must look at 4 issues. The first issue we need to consider is a financial position. Secondly, we need to consider management resources. We also need to take a close look at your personal goals, as well as looking at market needs and demographics. It's important that we find a strategy that fits with these 4 issues, and we will come back to these at the end of our presentation to ensure that this is exactly what we have done. The agenda for today's presentation. First of all, I'm going to start with an analysis. My colleague Menelaus will come up with a financial overview. My colleague Wendy will follow this with the alternatives that we see for your company, as well as the specific recommendation that we have for you today. My colleague John will come with an implementation plan that will look at the short term, the medium term, and the long term for your company, and include concrete success metrics so that we are able to judge if we are on the right path. Finally, I will come back, look at some risks and contingencies, and conclude the presentation. So at this point, I'm ready to launch right into the analysis. First of all, we just want to put this in context. We know where we are. We're in California. We're near San Francisco. The current locations that we have are in Santa Rosa and Cotati are in the Sonoma County. Novato is in Marin County. Now we're going to take a look at the industry. What is going on in the industry? Well, in the local market, it's a highly volatile market. Walmart has come in. Other new chains are opening up. Some stores are closing down. So this leads to a lot of uncertainty. We've seen a trend towards big, cheap, high-volume stores. Walmart, Safeway, Costco. These stores have unionization as a major factor, which is something that we do not have. If we're looking at demographics, in our area specifically, smaller families, older population, higher incomes, also dual incomes, which leaves higher income but also less time in the home. Higher education levels, less at-home cooking, and a greater spending on food. Now, what will be the consumer reaction of these people to this big, cheap, high-volume store? We think that leaves a special opportunity open for us. Continuing with our analysis, let's look at what's going on culturally in our region. In general, in the United States, in terms of alcohol consumption, beer consumption is going down. Wine consumption is going up. There's a passion for food. There's a passion for life. We've seen the emergence of things such as the Food Network, Wine Spectator, gourmet magazines, the movie Sideways, which was located directly in our region, the Martha Stewart impact. All these things lead people to want to have better things. They have more money, and they want to spend on themselves. At this point, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Menelaus, who's going to take a look at the financial overview.
Thank you, Rachel. Now, what Rachel has done is taken a qualitative look at the industry that we're in and a qualitative look at the environment that we're operating in. At this point, what I'd like to do is take a quantitative look at the industry and at our company itself and at the options that are ahead of us in terms of possibilities in going forward. Now, when we look at our key financial data, what we see here is that we have a very strong working capital position. We have a very strong cash position. Actually, it's extremely high at 44% of current assets. So it's important that we explain that this amount, $2 million of it, was specifically set aside in order to take advantage of either a renovation, and now we seem to have another opportunity that is in front of us. Taking a closer look at some of your key financial ratios, what I've done is I've extracted the $2 million from the cash position in order to get a more accurate picture in terms of your liquidity ratios. A very healthy current ratio, a relatively healthy asset test ratio for the business that we're in. Our debt load is under control, and our long-term debt-to-equity ratio is also very acceptable. Now, I can't talk about this industry if I don't talk about margins. The grocery industry, the food industry is all about margins. Now, unfortunately, what I'm seeing here is a decreasing trend in both of our stores. At one point in our Cotati store, we had margins of 7.5%. In 2004, that margin is down to 1.4%. Excluding the year 2000, where we had a loss, in our Santa Rosa store, our margin had reached 6.6%, and currently we're operating at a 3.7% margin. Now, taking a closer look, once again, looking at net margins, because this is the key factor in this industry financially. Our competitors, which are in the same business, very low margins. Kroger actually produced a loss in 2004, so that's why you see the non-applicable. There's some standouts in the industry. We have Whole Foods with 3.4. They have a very special product that they offer to consumers. The reason I've highlighted Walmart as well at 3.6 is because 3.6 is for their entire business. It doesn't specifically represent what their margins are in terms of their food service business. I expect that their margins are more in line with what we see in terms of Safeway and Albertson. Now, our current combined margin at this point in time for our 2 stores is 2.5%. We've seen margins as high as 7.5% in the past. And financially, this is the type of margin that we would like to see in the future. Now, it's important that we evaluate the projects that are available to us at this time. An opportunity has been put in front of us to acquire one of 2 stores that Kroger is putting up for sale. What I'm going to put forward for you is an optimistic, a pessimistic, and a crash evaluation whether we were to go into this scenario. So optimistically, with a 5% growth rate, 7.5% in net earnings, in the margin, which is our target, we see a rate of return of 73.9. The assumption here is that the store that would be open would be of similar size and revenue generation capacity as the stores that we have now. I'd like to take a look at the pessimistic, which would estimate 0% growth. However, we would attain our 7.5% margin. So $20 million for the entire 5-year period with a rate of return of 69.66. Now, things can go wrong. And what if we underestimate the potential market of either one of the 2 locations? Let's say we underestimate it by 25%, and revenues from these stores are only at $15 million. Once again, with a 7.5% margin, what we see is an internal rate of return of 48.44. These are fairly impressive figures in terms of considering these investments. Now, something that you were planning to do previously was to spend that $2 million on a renovation in our current facilities. So we're going to look at what type of return we could expect if that renovation were to be done. And once again, I'm taking a pessimistic point of view here with 0% growth rate. However, with the implementation that we're going to suggest forward, having achieved our 7.5% margins, once again, what I'd like to do is separate out from the calculation the margin that we're currently at. So I only want to evaluate the benefit, which is a 5% increase in terms of margin. So that $2 million going forward for the next 5 years, with the $2 million investment up front, will bring our internal rate of return to a very respectable 35.7%. So this is not as good as the previous options that we looked at. However, it's still a very respectable rate of return. Now, given that we know what environment we're looking at, given now that we have seen the financial implications of the decisions that are in front of us, we're going to look at some criteria in terms of what type of decisions and what options are in front of us and how we are going to proceed. Therefore, I'd like to pass the floor to my colleague, Wendy, who is going to go through that process for you.
Thank you, Menelaus. So you've come to us with this challenge. You have this exciting opportunity in front of you. You have an opportunity to take over Kroger stores, and there are 2 in particular that you are looking at. So really, there are 2 directions you could go in. You could make these acquisitions in Santa Rosa and Novato in particular, or we see that with this money, you could also focus on renovations to your current locations. You've told us that this is something that you would like to do. If I can move forward with the first alternative, we wanted to first separate the stores and look at them as mutually exclusive alternatives for you. First of all, with the Santa Rosa site, it has a larger population than the Novato site. It has a lower median age. They have They spend their money differently than the ones with the higher median age. The education level is much lower in Santa Rosa. There are more people, per household. The annual income is lower, and per person it's even lower. Of course, in Santa Rosa, the site that you're looking at is surrounded by cheaper retailers, which would really kill your image. Basically, at the end of the day, what we really feel is that if you're going to go forward with an acquisition, the best one to look at is the Novato site because it really fits with your brand image. In particular, the other market, the Santa Rosa market, is really not as attractive, not to mention the fact that you already have a store in Santa Rosa. So let's look at the alternative of making an acquisition in general. So of course there is potential for further growth, and you would like to see the Oliver's markets grow. There is also the personal challenge, and that is really the big issue for you. It's not just for you, but it's also for your main manager, who is Tom. You would like to see him have something challenging to work on in the future. On the negative side, there are some significant risks to look at. There's potential to dilute your overall brand image because of the fact that you will be spreading your efforts so thin over 4 or 3 stores. Other stores that you have right now, the 2 that are actually operating, are really just not in the order that you would like to see them in. You've alerted us to some potential problems in these stores at this moment. The food market currently is quite volatile, as Rachel pointed out to you. There have been some moves in this industry. Walmart has come in. Whole Foods has built another store in your area. And really, there have been other stores closing down. So perhaps it might be better to actually wait until things settle down a little more. The margins, they've been decreasing at your current location, and this should perhaps alert you to the fact that maybe you should focus your attention a little more at those stores. Management overload is a considerable problem for you. You know that Tom is overextended. You yourself are overextended, especially now with your wife is sick. And, of course, you've had problems with training, and integration in the new stores would actually extend you even further. Moving on to the second alternative of focusing on your current store, spending the money that you have in the bank on renovations for your current stores. You could spend them on the renovations. You could ensure the sustainability of your 2 current stores. You could make sure that what they are the best that they could possibly be. You could avoid markets where other supermarkets have failed. Why has Kroger failed in these markets? You don't know this information. Avoid undue risk. This is a personal, professional risk that you would be taking. And, of course, you would be avoiding the management overload, a huge positive of this alternative. You could focus on your family. In terms of risks of this alternative, there could be a competitor or another new entrant who has a similar business model to you who could buy those sites that you were looking at and possibly be in our neighborhoods competing against us. Of course, you would also be losing the opportunity to move into this new market, specifically the Novato market. At the end of the day, what do we look at? We have certain decision criteria that we wanted to bring in to look at these 2 alternatives to make sure that it was an objective decision that you make going forward. So the competitive reaction, well, the better alternative is focus on your current business. In terms of responding to demographic changes, focus on your current business is the better alternative. In terms of financial viability, both would be good, but focusing on your business would really be better for your long-term sustainability. Avoiding management overload, focusing on your current business is once again the better alternative for you. And finally, in terms of building your brand and your reputation, and this is the most important attribute going forward into the future, focusing on your current alternative, on your current business, is the better alternative. So at the end of the day, clearly, focus plus focus plus focus plus focus plus focus equals focus on your current business. Now, how do we propose that you do this? Well, it's going to take a marketing plan, and this is going to be a huge part of our implementation plan for you. What is your position in the market? You've already told us, and we agree with you, that you want to be the retailer, which caters to the gourmet market of affluent customers who want to pay for your services and your atmosphere in the positive atmosphere that you offer them, the atmosphere that feels like a European market where they go and they can spend their hard-earned money on something that's really good for them. Your target market, as we outlined earlier, they are the higher income people. They are the people who want the good life. They want the good foods, and that's what you give them. So, how are you going to go forward with your renovation plan? To build brand equity, John is going to outline this for you in a strong implementation plan that we have put together for you. So without further ado, I will pass the floor over to my colleague John, and he will run you through our implementation plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wendy, and thank you for having us here. As a brief overview, we have looked at the business that we currently exist in Sonoma County, and there's possibilities for expansion through to Marin County. And we have looked very carefully and very detailed at our financial position and where we see ourselves in the market versus our competitors. We have made this recommendation that we follow through with the focus on our own stores. And what I will follow through now is an implementation over the next short, medium, and long term as well to make sure we do not lose the focus of our current Oliver's stores. So briefly, I'll be talking about these main points: the store renovations, the margin improvements, HR issues we currently face, the pricing strategy, and certain benchmarking alternatives that we must address. If we look at the short term, and by the short term I am referring to the next 12 months, less than 1 year, focus on the Cotati and the Santa Rosa stores, the remodeling of both locations. We are going to spend $1 million on our 2 locations. Renew the Cotati lease. We currently have 9 years left on this lease, but we want to renew this as soon as possible. This is a very high priority as well. And implement the marketing campaign. Wendy has discussed this marketing campaign. I will show a few more possible options for this marketing campaign. But in the next year, we need a strong, decisive, focused marketing campaign. Continuing on, in the short term, improving our net margins to the 2001 levels of 6% on our net margin. Some absolute activities that we can start doing is no more Safeway matching. We are currently matching our prices to Safeway prices and setting below Safeway prices. We will stop that immediately. Keep the managers setting their prices. They have control over their products. They know the prices, but give them targets within plus or minus 3% to give them a range that can allow them to fluctuate prices daily if required. And also keep looking for new product mixes. We are very good at this as a specialty grocery retailer. Imported foods, hardware for the kitchen are specific alternatives. Continued in the short-term implementation, an aquarium for your fresh food, for your fresh seafood. How are you currently selling your seafood? Let's look at making fresh lobster tanks, fresh seafood tanks. A table to pick fresh berries. This has worked very well in the Northeast, where consumers come in and pick the berries that they want and fill their basket to overflowing with berries. Maintaining the market feel of our store in an indoor location. And the staff appearance. Let's make it look more official, more formal, more presentable. Give them aprons and hats, and we need to address the issue of the classic rock and roll music in the store. There are other alternatives for this. Continuing on. The medium-term issues. In the next 1 to 2 years are medium terms. What can we address? Human resources is a very, very important issue. Safety is a problem in our store, and this is a very serious issue. This can be directly related to the training of our staff. So we're proposing 2 weeks of training for all new employees in their positions. OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. We require a documented policy to make sure that both stores and all managers of the stores know what is safe practices. But let's get the employees involved. Develop a health and safety committee at each store from the employees, by the employees. In the same mention, we can develop a social committee. Let's develop the social awareness of our employees for their store. The goal of this, avoid unionization, avoid increased wages and benefits for our stores. Continuing in the medium term, the next 1 to 2 years, the succession plan. How will Tom Scott succeed Steve Moss? This is between you two gentlemen, how you wish to work it out. But one proposal we can offer is a ownership offer to Mr. Scott for a minimum of 5% ownership of the store for a certain amount of cash, but it's his sweat equity that really is giving him the ownership, minority ownership. Focus groups. Go to the community. You are a community-based company. Get volunteers and seniors from your community to come into your store. Have them talk about your store. What do they like? What would they like to see in your store? And will they buy it if it is in your store? And more importantly, what price would they be willing to pay? Olivers.com, online shipping and delivery. In the next 2 years, we would like to see this online purchasing with a delivery service. As we continue on through the implementation, benchmarking. Currently, you are only benchmarking your prices. Let's look at national benchmarking averages for the retailing industry. Dollars per square foot, dollars per employee, same size store growth, basket size per trip. These are important numbers you must be looking for. And other issues in the long term, the next 2+ years. What is next? A market study in Marin and Sonoma counties. What are attractive purchase opportunities? Where would we like to be? Because we were always on the lookout for attractive expansion opportunities. And in the long term, make sure that Tom Scott is tied in to our stores. So I will now present a summary timeline of the activities for the implementation of our own store focus. The renovation and the Cotati lease, very critical, very important, very short term. Then we begin our marketing campaign, our food presentation, focus on our employees, the web-based campaign, the benchmarking activities, and the new ownership structure. How will we know this implementation has been successful? These are the key success metrics that will make sure that we know that we are on the right path. Immediately implementing our net margins. We are currently at 2.5%. Our goal is to make it at 7.5% in the next 2 years. Tomorrow would be great, but we do have to start looking at improving that margins and keeping track of it on the weekly reports. The sales per square foot. The national average is $472 per square foot. Our Cotati store, $691 per square foot. And our Santa Rosa location is an excellent number, $1,137 per square foot. Make sure we remain above the national average. The other options, retailer rewards, the participation groups. Are we getting participation and the same store growth? This is the conclusion of the implementation plan. I will now be handing the floor back to my colleague Rachel, who will conclude our presentation.
Thank you very much, John. So at this point, it's clear that our recommendation to you is that it is not the time to pursue acquisitions of new store locations. We would like you to strengthen the locations that you already have. And we want to take a look at this by looking back at the initial issues that we discussed at the beginning of the presentation. Financial position, management resources, personal goals, market needs, and demographics. We see we have respected these issues. In the financial position, the cash is put to good use, and we're in a strong financial position. Management resources, the decision that we made mitigates any risk with regards to these resources. Personal goals. We know you have a lot of personal stress in your life right now, so this option, we believe, is the best option for your sanity and peace of mind at the moment. It will be less stressful for you, but it also creates a clear and interesting future for Tom, now that he will be able to take over part ownership and will have a clear idea of the direction of our stores. Market needs and demographics. Clearly, this is something that we have considered in this alternative. Passion for food, passion for life. Now at this point, I'd like to look at some risks, because we can't always assume that everything will go perfectly. First of all, we need to look at the possibility of a new entrance, the possibility that Tom leaves, and the possibility of a recession. In terms of new entrants, well, we're building on the Oliver's brand and the experience. We're looking at differentiation, and this is key. And this is why a new entrant should not be competitive towards us. We're looking at strong consumer communication based on our focus groups, based on our suggestion box. In terms of Tom leaving, we think that there's less of an impact of this happening with no expansion. And we think that the implementation of a succession plan, as we have mentioned, is something that's very key for making sure that he stays. Finally, in terms of a recession, we're serving a relatively affluent population, so this should be less of a risk for us. We're forming these consumer relationships that we've spoken to. We're non-unionized, which gives us a little more leeway in terms of our salaries, and our margins are above national averages. Everyone still needs to eat, so we think that in terms of a recession, we should be well placed. At this point, I'm going to conclude our presentation, Passion for Food, Passion for Life. We're looking at an investment of less than $2 million. The internal rate of return that we're expecting is 35.7%. This is based on a conservative estimate. The annual net profit, in this case, should move from $1 million to $3 million annually, starting 1 year from now. The Oliver's Market experience is what we propose to you. And at this point, that concludes our presentation. I'd like to thank you very much for inviting us here today. And at this point, I'm going to invite my colleagues to come and join me in front, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much for your recommendations. Although being prudent in nature, as you clearly noted, we have operational cost issues, and suggesting that Tom becomes a partner. What if, knowing that Eric's store does much better than Tom's, what if I switch them from stores to see if Tom's the problem?
Actually, we don't believe Tom's the problem, because we need to remember that Tom is dealing with general management issues and store management issues. So switching them would probably cause confusion. An important strength of our company is the culture and the feeling of security that the employees have, the happiness that they have to come into work. So doing a heavy-handed move like that is probably not what we would recommend at this moment, because it would upset the balance, it would upset the happiness of our current employees, and it would be risky.
Your marketing plan says that we should cater to the affluent market, the higher income, more highly educated. But the Cotati store is located, as you pointed out in your own analysis, in a lower income, lower education marketplace, and its revenues have been declining steadily. Why shouldn't we simply close that store and instead take the opportunity to move into Nevada?
Certainly the Santa Rosa market, where we currently have a lower income market, a lower affluence there is an affluent market there in Santa Rosa. However, because of the fact that it is a larger market, when you divide the incomes by the number of people, it does come out to be quite unattractive overall. However, we are in a more affluent area. Our current store, the store we were looking at on our chart, was actually the Kroger store that we were looking to take over. So currently we are catering to the affluent market that is in Santa Rosa, and we feel that we do it very well.
You've recommended that we refocus the two stores and change the merchandising mix and layout. And that Tom takes an increasingly important role in the future. My question is, what happens to my precious Eva, my only daughter? Does massage, what role does she take in this plan?
Well, that's a great question, and we're happy you asked it, because we have considered this very seriously. Now, she has artistic talents. She has musical talents. So we think it will be very important to use her in this brand upgrade that we're looking at. So we're improving our stores. We can use her artistic talents. Also, our website. We think this is an area where she'd be very helpful. She can come up with some sort of logo, brand images. Believe me, there's plenty of work for her to do. She should be very happy.
One of the things you mentioned is that I shouldn't do the acquisition because I would dilute my brand. However, what is my brand? I'm health in one store, gourmet in another. What am I?
Great question. I'm really happy you asked this. We've actually put together for you a marketing mix, and if you'll allow me to, my colleague, to get it. Basically, right now, you have said that you are one thing, but both of your stores are not showing the same consistency. And this is what we feel is really diluting your brand image, because it is confusing, as you say, that you're gourmet in one store and you're health in another. So we feel that really making a strategy that goes across the departments and across the stores in terms of pricing is very important. You do not compete on price, and currently your strategy is diluting that image that you are a high-end supermarket. In terms of products, you have a great mix thus far. We would recommend that your mix in the future look for other fits in this current mix. The mix between the gourmet, the biological, the health food, they're actually quite related, because the market that you are looking at likes these items together in tandem. In terms of promotion, we would like to see you focus your promotion on your position as a gourmet producer. And in terms of place, you're already in good locations, and by putting yourself in other locations, you have the opportunity, the potential, in fact, to really kill some of the strength that you have right now in terms of what people see you as.
Despite the fact that we are not unionized, we have very high labor costs. We have much higher labor costs than any of our competitors.
and yet you suggest that we increase our net margin quite dramatically. How do you think we should achieve that with such a high labor cost?
Hello? Okay. Well, the high labor cost, and in terms of our decreasing margins, there were two aspects of the business that contributed to the decreasing margins. One was our product mix and our pricing strategy more specifically, and especially with regards to our staples types of products, milk, eggs, butter. We were pricing underneath Safeway. That was definitely affecting our margins. So you saw that clearly over there. The second factor that affected our margins was the year in which we had a lot of trouble in terms of health and safety, in terms of the increase in our insurance premiums in order to cover our employees for the accidents that happened. What John implemented, or what John suggested in his implementation plan, should address this issue and in fact decrease our labor costs in terms of covering our employees for health and safety while maintaining an ability to pay them very competitive labor rates.
If I might add to this, we recognize the fact that the company pays employees a lot more, but of course we expect a lot more from our employees. We also expect them to contribute to the atmosphere that is our company. We don't like to see our employees leave and go to another competing store. We want them to stay, and so we feel it's very important that we pay them competitively.
Hello. You suggested that through the new marketing and all that, we stay on the lookout for many more new products and all that. Knowing that you suggested the renovation, not expansion of the store, and that we already have 108 different oil cans of different brands, which categories would you suggest we spend more time on, and which one should we divest from?
If we're going to be implementing new products, we are looking for complementary products to the food service. One idea that we had discussed in the room was some hardware, and the ideal match for that in a high price, high margin would be Henkel Troco knives. That would be very effective in maintaining our high image, high cost, and indeed our focusing towards our target market. Right now, we are not specifically recommending disposing of any items or brands that we have. We like to let our customers decide what is best for them, and also with the focus groups, we are hoping they will be able to give us new ideas on what they want and what they would like to see in our store.
You've done a very thorough examination of the business trends over the last 5 years. And I wonder if we're going to focus on the 2 supermarkets that we currently own, our internal managerial systems, procedures, processes, accountabilities, are they appropriate going forward in this age?
Are they appropriate going forward? Are they appropriate going forward for us?
Yes.
That's what we need to know. We are a small 2-store family-owned business. The family-owned corporate culture is very prevalent and very important to us. Your wife and your daughter have been involved in the business, and your friend Tom Scott is very involved in the business, and we are recommending that he become further involved in the business with a minority ownership interest. This is appropriate for the feel of the store that we are trying to develop, a local market store for our area. We want to make sure that we maintain this local market feel, specifically targeting the customers in our area who are coming to us for the experience of shopping at our stores. So we feel that the management scheme we have currently is the most effective for that.
And if I could just add one point about accountability, we've been very successful in respecting our employees. We've found that when we respect them, they're motivated. Also, let's not forget the pay levels that we're giving is another way that we're showing respect. So in terms of accountability, we've had a very encouraging atmosphere and culture, and it's been extremely successful for us.
You say it's been extremely successful and we pay our employees and they're really happy and their worst day with us is better than their best day at Safeway. All of that should translate then to happy employees who sell more for us. And yet, if we look at the statistics, our weekly sales per full-time employees is well below the national average. Why is that?
Well, I think what's going on there in terms of has nothing to do with the happiness of our employees in terms of pushing the product. I think what's happening here is that people come to our store maybe for a more specific type of product. They don't go to fill their pantry with Campbell's soup. They come, therefore, the purchases might be slightly smaller in terms of the scale per employee.
If I understand you correctly.
You said reposition and rebrand in your two stores. Have a succession plan without EVA, and don't buy at the moment. The repositioning and the rebranding, and you said a few minutes ago that you would not get rid of any products. You would still maintain the same line of products. So how do you reposition and rebrand with the same line of products?
That's a great question. In fact, we're not proposing a repositioning. In fact, we're proposing a strengthening of your position. You've told us what you want to be to the market, and we're suggesting that you take it forward and make sure that that position is as strong as it can be across both of your stores. It's currently not, and you've let us know the issues that there are. Your second question speaks to going forward without Eva. Well, Eva, she's actually indicated to you that she's really not interested in running your business. You know that she really doesn't have the skills that you would like her to have to run your business. And so we feel it's really the best thing for you to consider Tom at this moment. He's the most likely candidate for you.
If after presenting your ideas to Tom, he comes to me and says that he'd prefer that he become the managing the sort of operating manager of the business, and that I retain essentially a passive role, and sell him 50% of the business. Should I pursue that option?
That's actually a very personal decision for you. So we can suggest that this is an alternative for you, and if you feel that you would like to spend more time with your wife, move into retirement, move into advisory role, that's something that's very possible. However, it's really something that you have to decide, how do you feel at this moment. We think that this strengthening of your position and brand to make the Oliver's Market experience is a very exciting moment in your store. These stores are your baby, so we feel that you'll probably want to stay on, at least for the near future.
With your current plan, how do I achieve differentiation from Whole Foods and the others?
We're looking towards more gourmet foods. So yes, the Whole Foods will be there, but this is a store we're looking to strengthen the brand. We're talking about an aquarium for fresh fish. We're talking about being able to come in and load up your basket full of strawberries. So this is an entire experience that we're presenting. So this is very different from the Whole Food stores that exist in the area at the moment.
You focused quite thoroughly on margin analysis, and there has been a distressing trend over the last 5 years. But unfortunately, it's substantially worse for the Colati store than the Santa Rosa store. Why is that?
Well, in terms of the margins now, it's something that maybe we will have to investigate further in terms of seeing maybe there was more risk associated in terms of insurance at the Colati store. And if this is the case, the implementation plan would address that in terms of maybe more health and safety training would be required at that particular store. And then we would look at the other factors that affect margins, which are the types of products that we deal with, and the pricing strategy. Maybe the pricing strategy at the Colada store was ineffective when compared with our other stores. So once again, I think the implementation that John put forward with regards to how we are going to go about pricing our products will be effective in dealing with the lower margins in the other store.
Okay, so thank you once again to the final round of the John Molson International Case Competition, edition 2006. My name is William Nahorniak. I'm the judge coordinator for this case. Alors, bienvenue de nouveau pour la dernière présentation des rondes finales du concours international d'études de cas MBA John Molson. Mon nom est William Nahorniak. Je suis le coordinateur pour cet événement. J'aimerais maintenant que les juges se présentent à notre nouvelle équipe. Please, judges, present yourself to the new team.
My name is Russell Hiscock. I'm the general manager of the division that runs the assets of the Canadian National Railways Pension Fund.
Maki Vatakino, and I'm CEO of Les Aliments Soyami Foods.
Dr. Arvind Joshi, I'm the CEO at St. Mary's Hospital Centre here in Montreal.
I'm Norman Rashcowan. I'm Chief Investment Officer with Standard Life Investments.
And I'm François Giroux, President of Groupe Lacasse Hayworth. We're a global office furniture manufacturer.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. So again, I'd like to remind the judges, the audience, and team members to turn off their cell phones and pagers during the presentation. And I'd ask the audience to please remain silent. Donc, j'aimerais que tout le monde éteigne leur cellulaire, leur pagette et qu'ils restent silencieux durant la présentation. Alors, je rappelle à l'équipe qu'ils ont 25 minutes pour faire la présentation. Quand il reste 5 minutes, je vais montrer une pancarte qui indique 5. Quand il reste 1 minute, je vais montrer une pancarte qui indique 1. S'il vous plaît, faites signe que vous avez vu les pancartes. Même chose pour les juges. So I'd like to remind the teams that they have 25 minutes for their presentation. When there's 5 minutes left, I'll show them a sign. When there's 1 minute, I'll show them another. I want the team to please acknowledge that they see the sign, the judges also. After that, there's going to be a 15-minute question and answer period. Questions can come only from the judges, not from the audience. Après la présentation, il va y avoir une période de 15 minutes pour des questions et réponses. Les questions peuvent seulement parvenir des juges et non pas des spectateurs. Alors, merci. Bonne chance. Good luck.
Does it work? Okay. Okay, who tells me where to go? Okay. Welcome, Mr. Stephen Mass and family members. We're aware that you had other consulting teams during this day. We know it's a long journey, so we promise we'll just keep it short and sweet for 25 minutes. We're the John Molson Consulting Group. We're here to present the analysis that we made for the last few weeks of your company, and we titled it Your Unique Food Shop, Olivier. I am really glad to introduce my team members, Ravindra Sharma, Jason Nelson, our project manager, Bin Nguyen, and myself, Ivan Soltero. And we're going to take you through the implementation of our plan. In our agenda, what we're going to look at today, I will cover the overview of the situation, our mandate recommendation, and the analysis on which we base our decision and our plan. Then Ravindra is going to come in and talk to you about the financial snapshot of our plan. Immediately after, Jason is going to cover the alternatives that we consider for you. Ben is going to come and take you step by step through the implementation of our process. And finally, Ravindra is going to come up with the most important thing, which is the cost and the future benefits for your company. So if we take a look at the overview. Right now you're in a position that you have an expansion opportunity. And when you came to us, is you need to evaluate if it's going to be profitable for you in the future. So what do you do to survive? There are market changes. What is the next move? Our mandate, therefore, is based on what's happening in the market, your own skills and resources, and the competition, which is really fierce, what should you do? Should you expand your business or not? Our recommendation focuses on no. It is not the best opportunity right now to expand. We need you to transform and refocus your business, and it covers 3 major points. First of them is you need to change your market target. Is you go to upscale market. You need to improve your operations. That's a key point. And especially, you have internal concerns right now, especially with HR and succession plans, and we're going to cover all of those later. Now, the key issues on which we base our decision. First of all, the market has changed. The game has changed. You cannot play with the same rules anymore. We have the superstores, Walmart, Target are going to come in within a few months. Can you compete with them? Second of them, speed up. People are having less time to go and prepare their own foods. You have food courts, you have prepared foods in advance. That's a key point that you cannot lose. Overcapacity. Right now there's so much competition that the differentiation of a brand is really, really hard to get. Lifestyle. People are already purchasing food in the websites. Should you go that? Lifestyle, and finally the cost. The labor. Most of your competitors are unionized. The major chains are not, such as Walmart, which is a key point. And of course, the logistics. If you're a businessman, you have heard this all the time. Window of opportunities. Is it open for you right now? You cannot just force a window of opportunity to be open, and we do not consider that this is the time to go. So it's good to have a map. Where are you? Of course, there are a lot of factors, but we just go to the basics. We have price and quality. In price and quality, you wanted to focus on quality, offering a low price. We do not consider that fits. If we see in a few months, Walmart and Target are going to probably overlap all these small competitors in your industry. Therefore, the best way to go is you need to move forward and go up. Your prices are going to give you the lead because you do have a value product. It's unique, and you're going to focus on lifestyle. Now, we'll take a look at the marketing strategy that you have used right now. You focus on quality, that's true, but we do not believe, based on our analysis, that your marketing strategy fits with that. You're focusing a lot on pricing and ads and weekly flyers that do not appeal to the market that you are in. And even if that was the case, you already know you're the second stop. They go there after they went to the big industries. Align your product mix with the demographics. I'll give you an example. You had this sushi shop, California, a lot of Hispanic and Latin American, Mexican people. Do they take the sushi? The private label. We do consider that you can keep this label, but you should not focus on it because it adds value to your company. And of course, the final conclusion is you need to focus your marketing strategy, and it should not be based on price. If we just quickly analyze, this is not a final decision, but we just take a look at the products or lines that are more convenient for you. We can see that in one of your stores, GoTaddy, you take a look at the margins that you get for each line. These are the most attractive ones. Upscale market in Santa Rosa, it's slightly different. But you can also take a look at the growth, which are the plus signs. Now, the lines that we consider that are good to evaluate are, for example, the sushi bar. In any place, it's not you're not having enough gross margin. The natural foods, they don't work out in your lifestyle store, so we need you to consider that. Now, one of the key points when we base our analysis is we actually spend time with the members of your family. We got some feedback from them, Mr. Mass, and we detected some main issues. Succession plan. You're an entrepreneur. You have the guts. You have done it before. However, we all know that survival is not only about guts. It's about being prepared. So that will guarantee the success. You have to consider Tom's stake in the business. He is running the show right now. If he's gone, you're going to be on strikes. The operation responsibilities. Right now, Tom is holding the company on his shoulders all the time, and we do consider that with our strategy, he will have more time to focus on other things. The store revenue, Ravindra, and they will focus on that on the long term. And of course, the lease. You may have great ideas of strategy, but if you cannot get the landlord to keep the store open, it's not going to work. So our analysis, these are facts. It's not a feeling that we have or you should do. The summary of this analysis that we made for you is the size is vital right now. The market is saturated. The window of opportunity is not there. It's not an illusion. Therefore, you need to select your target market and focus on quality, not price. And I have heard this phrase for so many years for a successful businessman, which is survival or success. You have the guts, but you need to be prepared. We need you to focus and transform. Now, I'll pass the floor to Ravindra, who's going to give you the final snapshot of our plan.
Thank you, Ivan. Just looking at how you have performed financially over the last few years, you see that if you see the black line, that's your total sales. The increase in your total sales has come down dramatically, and it's like toasting around 7% right now. However, if you see that stores, the sales from Kotati stores are actually negative now, and whatever increase you are getting is from your Santa Rosa store, which is your upscale market. Therefore, we conclude that the driver for sales growth has been your upscale Santa Rosa market, and we believe that that is where you should be concentrating on. That's the kind of value proposition you should be having at your store. Also, market conditions are tough, and we believe that they will be tough with the overcapacity that is there. And also, look to differentiate your experience that you offer to the customer. Just having a look at your balance sheet and how it has changed over the last 2 years, your sales are up 1.7% only. However, your inventories are up 8%. You need to concentrate on your operations and get leaner over there. Your long-term debt to equity ratio has come down. You have some capacity to take some debt. We estimate it to be around 0.65 million. And your income from operations, although your sales have increased, has come down dramatically by 32%. Therefore, you need to ramp up to improve your profitability. Your current strategy of going on price is just not right for it. And also looking at your internal funds available, you have some slack over there. You have internal funds because your retained earnings have increased over the year. Therefore, operational marketing and store improvements are more important than expansion. Looking at your income from operations over the last 4 years, in 2001, Kotati store was the one which was driving your profitability. It's 70% share. However, last year it has come to the other way. The way to go for you is Santa Rosa. And just reconfirming that changing in pricing policy is needed for you right now. You are planning to bid for new stores. Should you do it? Well, if you look at the figures, the rentals are quite high, and we believe that since Kruger will drive a hard bargain, you should not expect the rentals to be lower than this. Also, both stores have significant competitors clustered around the 3-mile radius that you have. And also, if you look at the sales per square feet per year, they're nothing great. So what we believe is that expansion in current market scenario is not a viable option. What you should go for is to concentrate on your operations and transform yourself that way. Now I'll give it to Jason, who will take you through the alternatives.
Thank you, Ravindra. So far, Ivan has given you an overview of the market and where the opportunities lie, and Ravindra has given you a financial snapshot of your company and where you stand. Before going ahead to make a choice, we developed 5 criteria that you should use to base your decision on. The first one is sustainability. If you continue in your current model, will this work for you? Secondly, your financial ability. Ravindra pointed out that there might be some difficulties with this as well. Thirdly, your marketing position currently. Where are you placed? Where you should be placed? The succession issue. This is very important. If something would happen to yourself or to Tom, this could be a critical issue. Finally, overall risk. What's the best move? Looking at these 5 critical issues, we developed 3 choices that we felt were feasible and would get you back on track. The first one, expand rapidly. Go ahead with the purchase. The second one, is it time to exit the market? Finally, the third one, refocus and transform, which is our final recommendation. I'll just take a very quick look at each of the 3 options just to show you how they all stacked up. The first one, expanding rapidly. What does it involve? The first step, rapidly acquire the 3rd store. Sales are slipping, as is your operating income. You have to move fast if you really want to grow to realize some synergies. It would also involve remodeling and integrating the new store, as well as leveraging your added size. As Ivan pointed out, there are some trends that make this option not the right option at the moment. In terms of financial ability, Ravindra pointed out that this could be very challenging for you as well. In terms of marketing position, well, right now you're focusing on price in the current environment. It would be in line with this, but as we pointed out, we don't feel this is the right place for you to be at the moment. We want you to make a change. In terms of the succession issue, well, by buying another store, you do give the opportunity for Tom to transfer out of his store manager role and take over a general manager position. So possibly this could be a first step in that direction. Finally, risk. It really doesn't address the declines. Right now, as we mentioned, sales are declining, as is your operating income. This doesn't address these critical issues right away. So at the moment, this is just not the right time for this decision. Looking at alternative 2. It's a hard choice to make in this situation, but sometimes you may have to exit the market. Your net income has fallen rapidly, and is it the right time to actually exit? Look for a potential buyer. Negotiate a fair price. You still are profitable. This might be a good time to get out before sales slip. And finally, putting in place provisions for Tom. He's been a driving force in your company for many, many years. If you made a sale, you'd have to make provisions for him to make sure that he stayed on or was well taken care of in some way. Against the critical issues, well, exiting the market, in terms of sustainability, it does solve the issue in one way. You are leaving the market. In terms of financial ability, instead of paying out, you would be receiving money, so it would be a potential solution. Marketing position, you'll be offloading this problem to someone else. They can decide what to do with these stores, whether it's a sale to a larger chain or another specialty store. Finally, the succession issue, it would give you the chance possibly to focus on your family and move away from the business. You've said yourself that you're no longer interested in working 60 to 80-hour weeks. This would be a possible way out. But the risk, we feel that with the sales declining rapidly and your operating income declining rapidly at this moment, you wouldn't obtain fair value for your purchase right now. Who would buy a business that's been declining so rapidly in such a short time? Finally, the third issue, which is our recommendation, is refocus and transform. Ben will guide you through the exact steps that we plan to put into place, but it would involve dealing with your marketing position right now. Are you about price or are you about quality? Secondly, improving operations. Ben will take you through the steps that we feel are best to put you back on track. And finally, addressing the HR issues, and especially the succession issues, and what exactly to do with Tom. Against the critical issues, we feel this is the best decision. In terms of sustainability, it'll be easier to manage 2 stores. You won't necessarily be extending yourself too thin. Tom, who's a big part of your department right now, is already overextended. He can focus on the 2 stores. And Ben will also show how we plan to put into place other factors to help with this. In terms of financial ability, Ravindra did point out that you do have some financing, so you could put into place some renovations, some remodeling, some transformation of the stores to make them a better experience for your customers. Marketing position, we are going to show you how we plan to focus on the upscale products. We feel that this is the best place for you to focus on. Finally, the succession issue. We plan to bring Tom into the fold. Finally, risk. It'll really allow you to concentrate your efforts on the product lines and the opportunities that we feel are best for you. So we feel this is the only way to ensure fair value down the road, whether you decide to exit the market or whether you decide to continue. 5 years out, we really want your business to be in a better condition. In terms of putting our strategy into place, it's not perfect. There are some problems. We foresee a number of things that could be problematic. The first one is, what if Tom leaves? You've thought of this yourself. If he left, would it be time to sell at that point? And would that force you into selling at a time where you don't want to? In terms of solving this, we feel you should rapidly move into place to bring Tom into ownership. If market conditions worsen, set a limit of how far they'll fall before you get out. And finally, increased operating expenses. You have to be preemptive. We're going to recommend a number of things such as raising salaries, trimming staff, and moving towards group benefits. I'll now pass the floor to Bin, who will take you step by step through our plan and how we'll be putting it into place.
Thank you, Jason. So you've heard that what you need to focus on right now is your current two-store operation. There are some critical issues that you need to address before you can consider any other options of either expanding or getting out of the market. The 3 steps, really, what we want to help you focus on is how to improve your market position. How do you get more focused on your message? The second is improving operations, and the third is addressing HR issues. As you can see in the upscale market position, it's aligning your product to the local taste. Perhaps looking at different types of counters. The sushi bar was a nice opening, but in terms of square foot dollars, was it really worth it? Maybe there's something more attractive out there. Adjust your pricing policy. If you're going to go upscale, you don't need to compete with prices with Safeway. Focus on your marketing campaign and improve the in-store experience. For improving operations, you have to work immediately on renewing the lease. Improving the inventory control. Right now, sometimes it's monthly, sometimes it's bi-yearly. It's important to continue to focus and get all the departments to go monthly. And renovations. Right now, you've got your employees in jeans and it's casual. And there's also perhaps an image where you want to improve the upscale image. The HR issues, we're going to tell you how to reduce your staff and increase the wages. Right now, you are compared to the regular supermarkets, they've got about 70 employees. You're at about 110. Implement a safety program to address the safety premium issues. Adjust your bonus structure for your department managers. Right now, each department is sort of a lone enterprise. That's great, but you have to increase revenues overall for the whole store. There's some adjustments to be made there. The succession plan and realigning Tom's role. These are all HR issues that are internal right now that can affect your long-term viability. So to align the product mix to local taste, you've got 2 stores with slightly different messages, the Cotati store and the Santa Rosa. In the Cotati store, you've got the sushi bar. Is it really working? Can it be a better fit? Well, you can look for different types of counters that we suggested and focus on your growth lines, the natural foods, the meats. You are the second stop. Don't compete on everyday things that they'll go to Costco and Walmart and buy anyways. For Santa Rosa, focus on the prepared foods. Bakery produce, again, strongest margin products. Look for opportunities to cross-sell. Adjust your pricing policy first at Santa Rosa. Again, Santa Rosa has the more attractive demographics that might accept a price increase easier at first. You want to be able to gauge their reaction and do a phase-in approach. Improve the pricing of the grocery line, which is sort of the lower market product, and see if there's a negative reaction to that. Secondly, for your marketing campaign and improving the experience, well, we have a few ideas here that could potentially help. Focus on the uniqueness and quality of the experience, not on the price. Again, cuisine events in the store, recipes, meal tasting, wine tasting, cheese tasting. You already started a bit on that. Partnerships with local products. Maybe expand the ethnic line. Again, it's these unique products that customers come to your store to look for. These are things that you can work on. Outsource food preparation, supply via caterer, businesses, restaurants, etc. Social involvement. Get involved in the community. Right now you have price discounts with the seniors on Wednesdays if they come in at 4 p.m. Well, the idea is go out to your local community, establish your strong presence, because everyone is in about a 3-mile radius from you, so you want to be on top of mind. And the message really is, Oliver's, it's your unique food stop. It is not a Safeway. So to improve operations, we've listed a few things that are right now critical to your operations. The lease. You have to work immediately on renewing the lease. Get Tom involved, make him responsible for that. You have to aim to resolve this issue in 6 months. I know the lease is still good for 9 years, but if you want to think long-term and succession plan and being able to sell, a longer lease is necessary to make it more attractive. There's a possible time maybe to the landlord with revenues. Not recommended, but these are some options to think of in your negotiation package. But also, in case there are issues, long-term, look for relocation possibilities. The landlord may not lease it to you. They just might not, but you still have 9 years, and other locations are possible. Inventory control, implement the IT software so that monthly inventory management is easier for each department manager. And continue to improve the management of your perishables. Since you're going high-quality products, prepared foods, you're going to have to manage this even better. And renovations, involve Eva, your daughter. That's what she's interested in. Involve her in the design improvements. Get her to imagine what an upscale experience will be like, and match the employee uniforms accordingly. Right now, they're a little bit casual. You have to get a conceptualized look together, and Eva can do that. So the human resource issues, well, as we mentioned, you've got too many right now. Reduce staff by 15%, raise the wages by 5%. You're paying below market right now. You want to be able to retain the good people, pay them better, and hire an HR manager to help you, because you are not an HR expert. For employee safety, your premiums have gone from $200,000 to $1.2 million. This is a key expense issue. You have to implement your better safety standards, and by having a training program in place, you can negotiate better rates with the insurance companies so that standardized safety training program will help you do that. And compensation and benefits. Install a bonus for store-wide performance. Right now it's really department-based, but maybe a 50-50 will be a more attractive option. And the group benefit plan. Well, all these employees, if they want a group benefit plan, they can contribute themselves. Maybe go to some other local stores, get a larger group benefit plan together. The succession plan. You have to lock in Tom. He's running your day-to-day operations. So depending on Tom's financials, offer 15 to 25% ownership. Ravindra will go over that, what that would look like. Ramp up ownership over 5 years. Of course, Tom doesn't have $1 million in his pockets, so you have to talk to Tom and see if he can move up in 5 years. Evaluate year to year and then adjust accordingly. And the goal is a 50-50 split with Tom after 5 years. It just makes sense. So realigning Tom's role. Tom's doing everything. He was the store manager at the Katati store, and he was also the general manager. The Katati store was not performing well, and it's probably because Tom was too busy doing everything else. We suggest HR manager to help Tom and the store managers manage their employees better. Hire Katati store manager. Promote somebody from within. Again, promotion from within is very popular in your culture. And have Eric remain the Santa Rosa store manager. So if we take a look at what the plan looks like, it's really 5 years to refocus and transform. In the short term, work on improving your marketing position, improve your operations, address your HR issues, and in the medium term, you have to continue your marketing efforts. The message, again, is quality, not price, and phase in the succession plan. And we believe Tom is the one in the best position to do that. I'll now pass the floor over to Ravindra, who will just cost out the plan and show you the benefits.
Thank you, Ben. Looking at what the plan will cost you, we believe that looking at the lease renewal, we might have to face a lease increase because right now the landlord is playing hard to get, so keep that in mind. Looking at the renovations, you have marked something like $2 million. We believe that is on the higher side. Something around $750,000 would be more along the lines, and probably over 2 years. Your marketing expense, right now you're not spending much on it. We expect you to increase it to 2 to 3%. And something on your IT spending so that you can control your inventory better. The payoffs will be your profitability. Target 5% operating profit, which is right now 3.6%, and for the national average it's around 2%, and increase in sales at the rate of 7% annually in a tough market conditions. Looking at the ownership structure, financed by debt to tune of $650,000, and ask Tom to put in the remaining money, and use dividends to reduce your retained earnings. You might look into it. And coming to your future, we believe that you can touch $45 million in another 5 years. and you'll have a profitability of 2.25 million on the 5% basis. And in conclusion, our message finally to you is, don't look at expansion right now. Just try to ramp up your operations and become more profitable for the future. We thank you for your time and open up for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. The way I've operated the two stores in the past has been that each department within each store, the head of that department has full authority to select a product line, to price those products as the leader wishes, to position the department, to make personnel decisions within that department. And of course that's done not only differently within each store, but differently between the two stores. I've often wondered whether, as president, that gives me enough control, because one of your recommendations would be that now, within the two stores, I'm going to have very different departments.
Hello? Okay. Well, we believe that with the hiring of an HR manager, it will help standardize a bit the hiring processes. And the department's managers are really a core strength. I mean, you know, they're motivated, they're entrepreneurial in spirit, they are in contact with their local market. We believe that the HR manager will actually help you address some of those issues, and having them share or slightly adjust their bonus structure to not make them completely independent is really a way to help the whole store improve, but still incent them to make their departments work better.
You put a lot of emphasis on my succession plan, and particularly Tom. Yet, as you pointed out yourself, my better store is the Santa Rosa store, which is run by Eric. What about him?
We believe that Eric is doing a wonderful job over there. He's also helped by the fact that he's handling a store which is more upscale, and where the profit margins are better because of the pricing. And the reason we believe that Cotati is suffering is that because it's not getting enough attention from Tom right now. He's so involved in managing the whole organization per se that he's not able to devote enough energies to that. That's why we suggest that you have another person looking after the Cotati store, and Tom then moves into the real general manager's job that we believe he can do very well.
I'm glad you feel he can do very well. You're asking us, certainly me, to focus. We have two stores that are actually two different business models. One has Tom heavy on health and beauty aids and sushi, and the other one has Eric heavy on deli and no health and beauty aids. So if I have to focus, which one of the model do I keep?
Well, we believe the difference in the models really is because you're catering to the local demographics. But the Santa Rosa model, if you had to pick one particular model to follow, would probably be where you would want to go long term. Right now, though, we believe that the Cotati model and the Santa Rosa model, they're set up to best take advantage of their local demographics.
Just to add something very briefly, the Santa Rosa location has almost 40% in that target segment that you were looking for of the $75,000 income crowd, whereas the other model, your other store in Coati, only has around 28% in that target demographic, and that's why we feel that it's stronger to concentrate on the area that you yourself have indicated is the right target that you would like to pursue.
Given that your recommendation is that we focus on the high-end market, why don't we just close the Cotati store and acquire the Novalo store?
Well, we believe the Cotati store, again, is underperforming slightly because of the lack of attention from Tom. Not only that, the Cotati store, because you will be more focused on quality and have a better understanding of and control of HR and operations, you can work on that store currently. You know the local market. Your customers are used to you being there. It's better to improve what you know now and work with what you know now instead of dropping it and buying a new store and starting over, in an essence, from scratch?
What if Whole Foods buys the 2 Kroger stores?
Well, one of the key points that we had in our analysis is that you're really a differentiate business. As we mentioned in a diagram, whether it's Whole Foods, whether it's Walmart, whether it's Target, it's really saturated the market. So pretty much you have no other chances right now. Within the scope that you have, the only path of succeeding is actually moving up. So even if another competitor, whether it's Whole Foods, Safeway, or anybody else buys a store right in front of you, you have unique products that the customers wanted that the others don't have.
In the past, the customers' preferences were always respected, which gave rise to 108 different varieties of olive oil. Now you're counseling us to move upscale and focus very much on quality. What is that going to do to the whole product portfolio?
Well, the fact that you are able to service particular customer requests, again, is actually fits into improving the in-store experience and catering to the market and being a bit more specialized. The product portfolio, you've got your wines, your cheeses, you've got those upscale product lines that you want to keep, and you still want to be able to offer your customers that unique ability to order something specific. So in terms of product line, at times it might be broader, but what will really happen is they'll become a special order for a special customer, of which you can charge a higher premium. But you don't need to keep it in stock.
And don't forget, we're your consulting group. We have a specific marketing team. And you may have heard for the last 1 year and a half, there's some major trend right now in marketing, which is called client delight. So if you have a client coming in with a special brand of Italian oil that you cannot get, why not train your employees and tell them to actually delight this client to say, I don't have the product you're looking for. However, this is what I have, and it fits with your needs.
In keeping with this client delight and the client's needs, etc., you talked about inventory control. Do I then have to keep 108 oils to keep my clients happy, or how do you recommend that we manage this, the number of SKUs?
No, if we take the olive oil example, as an example, what you would do is reduce the olive oils that you do have in stock, basically to your top 20 sellers at most, and then for the remaining 98, they really become special order products for your customers. You always keep the tagline that we will get you any unique food product you want, but it will be a special order. It will just take a little bit more time, but your customers are willing to probably pay more and wait for that.
Or just a very quick add-on as well. If we feel that one product that's not ordered very often, a certain olive oil, but she's part of a very valuable customer to us, and we feel that keeping that one olive oil in stock to complement his or her selections, we would consider it. But as been said, we would definitely have to reduce a little bit, down to about 20 top sellers, but we would keep in mind very valuable customers.
The more I think about it, when you suggest exiting, it seems to be much more appealing to me. What are the two major changes that I would have to make an exit within the next 18 to 24 months?
Well, again, the exiting is attractive, but as Jason had pointed out, it's not the most attractive time to do it now. You're 59 years old. Yes, you have some personal issues where it might be more attractive to get out. But you've got Tom who's running your day-to-day operations. We believe that exiting the market in the long term is definitely something that you would want to consider when you're about 64, 65, as our implementation plan has pointed out. But to do it now, when your operations are in a bit of trouble, you're at risk of losing a key resource in your organization, you still have the energy, and it's still critical for you to keep the company for now, especially considering your daughter Eva is involved too.
In the short term, we feel that you should really concentrate on getting your operations up to date. It would, even in a span of 2 to 3 years, make it more attractive anyway. So we feel that by pursuing our strategy, whether you decide to sell 3, 4, 5 years out or longer, it'll put you in a better position to get a real fair value for your company.
When Tom heard that I'd hired you to advise me on this, he came to me and proposed that he obtain control of the business and that I remain as a silent, passive investor, that he would essentially pay off his ownership, his buy-in over a 5-year period, but that I have no further operational involvement. Would that be a good business decision for me?
In terms of a good business decision to be a silent partner, it is something you probably end up doing with our plan where, it's a 50-50 split. Again, Tom is managing day-to-day operations. If he wants to purchase it now, it is an attractive option because it keeps him in there. But I believe that you still need to be there because your daughter is still involved in the business. I think in the next 18 months, you really need to consider and try to secure her position and her future in that business. And therefore, your day-to-day involvement, though it's not great now, you should still have some say to try to ensure that she is protected.
At the beginning of your presentation, you talked, or you showed graphically, the erosion of revenues over the last 5 years. There's also been drastic erosions of margins, as you're no doubt aware. Why was that, and are there any lessons for me in that experience?
We believe that the reason why your profit margins has gone down is that your pricing policy, which we have currently focused on, and excuse me, in pricing your products in comparative ranges to what your competitors are offering and keeping them lower than that, is the one which is hurting you. And the market perception still is that the consumer believes that you are priced higher than the other places. So he's not coming in, and the people who are coming in spite of that perception. So we believe that it is possible for you to do better on your pricing and get more profitable in the future.
Continuing on our margins and the fact that they've reduced quite dramatically, you did correctly identify the high salaries, the total salary dollars that we spend, and you recommended cutting some people but yet increasing salaries. How is that going to help me? And also hiring more people.
I'll just comment on the qualitative benefits of that, and Arundra could probably do the quantitative. But right now, the average supermarket has about 69 employees per store. You're at 110, 115. You've even mentioned that you haven't always hired the best people. So you cannot justify continuing to hire, to hold so many employees in your store. The employees you do want to keep, however, are the motivated employees, and right now their wages are below market value. Increase the wages to the employees you want to keep, and you're hiring an HR manager and a new store manager. It's not a lot of hires. It's just 2 people who can come in and really help identify who to cut, and the bottom line is your stores will be more efficient and more profitable per square foot.
We believe that if you cut your present levels of workforce by 15% by streamlining your operations and increase the wages by 5 to 6% so that they're more in line with what the market is offering, you can probably improve your margins. On the wages, you can cut down by around 12% total. And we believe that it will also help you in hiring much better people and retaining them for longer.
This is being a family-owned and run business. I need to keep the employee and the family happy, certainly the family happy. So in order to get her to learn the ropes, why don't I replace Eric by Eva and keep Tom as manager in the north?
Well, Eva has expressed disinterest, I guess, on the business side of running the markets. And of course, if you're going to be competing against the supermarkets and other competitors coming in, you're going to need somebody who's operationally strong. The fact is, if Eva was interested, it would have been great, but she's more interested in design, so keep her involved. Have her, it's still a family-run business, but she can work on perhaps the marketing side of it, but you still need Tom to run operations.